Hello, and welcome to the Flowers in the Wild. I am your host, Ajna Flowers, and today with me I have this amazing woman, Paula Thomassen, correct? Is that how we say that? Okay, I met Paula through a group on Facebook, and I ended up having a session with her. And I have asked her right now to just kind of give us a little background on what she does, how it came about, and when she can really remember the first time that gift showed up in her life. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. This is just fun.
It is amazing.
So I have been a practicing psychic for over 30 years. Actually, I think it's 31 this year.
Oh, wow.
And I am 65, about to be 66. So I was not one of those that had, I was not 4 years old and, could see dead people or anything like that. No,
Right.
I had traumatic childhood between my parents dying in a car accident and I was incestually molested by four male members of my family by the time I was 17. So between the ages of 4 and 34, if I have to give it an end date,
Right.
things were very hectic and traumatic in my life. And I just learned to go with the flow. Now, back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, New Age was becoming more and more prevalent. It was everywhere, whether you
Right.
call it New Age or New Thought. I used to I lived in New Carrollton, Maryland at the time, and I used to go to Laurel, Maryland, and there was a beautiful New Age shop there in what used to be a house, I'm sure, and I just loved going there because it smelled so good. They would cook and they had books and books and books. So I would go to this shop, and I'm terribly sorry, but I don't remember the name. And I live in New Mexico now for the last 27 years. I'm bad at math, but stuff is important. So anyway, I don't know if it's still in existence, but there were flyers of people
wow.
doing readings and Reiki, and it was just, a tarot and pendulum and psychic. And it just really sparked an interest in me. I wanted to know, can anybody do this? Can anybody do this? Because
Right.
I consider myself to be very ordinary, My cultural background is Italian and Danish on one side, very English, Dutch on the other, and it just, if you want to call it Wiccans or witchcraft, it was not talked about
Right.
in my family.
Oh,
It was not
right.
talked about.
Right.
We
And
went
if
to
it was to warn you.
right. We went to a Protestant church, very, very white, let's put it that way.
Right.
So I wanted to know if anybody could do this. And this was before the days of internet, okay? I'm feeling really old right this second, but that's okay. I like me.
Well, you don't look old because your eternal soul is radiant.
I can be old, so it's all right. So
No, you look amazing, though. Just saying.
Thank you so much. I was guided to buy a book. Very bookish in the first place. So in the second place, it wasn't a big surprise to find a book. And I always have it right nearby. It's Ask Your Angels.
Okay.
And so, I've got little bookmarks and stuff. It's a bit dog-eared.
Who is that by?
It is by Alma Daniel, Timothy Wiley, and Andrew Raymer. And I will send you those details when we get off of here.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put it in the description, so if they're interested in it too, they can
absolutely
check it out.
So, because even though it's an older book, it sure as shit worked, So
right.
I learned how to ground myself. I learned how to center myself. I learned how to, literally learned how to meditate. I really did. Because you need to do that in order to contact your spirit team, which is what I wanted to know. Could anybody hear these angels or whomever?
Right.
So I don't remember what day of the week it was, which is kind of funny for me, but that's all right. I the kids were in bed. I was a single mother of a girl and a boy since they were 2 and 4, 4 and 2. So I was a single mom for 16 years, single grandmother for about that long, 14 years, give or take. So anyway, back to my story.
Yes.
And anyway, I wanted to know if I could connect. So I don't remember what night of the week it was. I have a feeling it was Wednesday, but and here my spirit guides are coming in and they're laughing and giggling because they were like, yeah, we know. I was in the living room. TV was off. It was quiet. And I did the centering and grounding. And then I did exactly what they told me to do in the book. I sat there and I said, is anybody here?
Okay.
And I heard someone say, yes. And I said, okay. I closed the book, turned off the light, and went to bed because I found out what I needed to find out that one time.
Okay.
And I can't begin to tell you how many notebooks I have filled over the years. Many notebooks I have filled over the years with dialogue from my spirit team. I learned that the ones that I was talking to were my spirit guides. I learned from them their purposes.
Right.
I thought I only had 4, but it turns out there's so many. And each spirit guide has a specific purpose in your life, okay? Whether it's money management or becoming more feminine. There's a spirit guide for that.
Well, if it involves your life, there's a spirit guide for it.
Yeah.
Which that pretty much is anything that your life encompasses.
Well, and I had a bit of a conversation with a client last night. She was like, well, can you tell my guides that I'm ready for love and they need to guide this guy into my life, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, but it's not really their job to fulfill your wishes. It's your job to follow your intuition. And sometimes my messages are me being your intuition, essentially, in order for you to live your best life. And from there, you will find the job that you are looking for.
And I just want to put in here really fast that when you are living in that place, you are living in a place of lack. You have to persist in existing in a place of calm, like I say all the time on the podcast, in every situation, and allow the universe to do what the universe already knows is for your highest good. Because if you force what you think is your highest good, it 9 times out of 10 ends in absolute disaster.
Yeah, I can. That's for sure.
Right.
Sure.
But if you're just allowing the universe and staying calm in situations you have no control over anyway, it's uncertain, so you don't control it. Don't get yourself all worked up.
You call it staying calm. I say adapt a welcoming attitude. I welcome what the universe has for me. I am open and available for opportunities the universe has for me. Whether it's
and see, that's what I love, is I say that way somebody understands that. You say it that way and somebody's like, oh, okay, I get it.
Allowing, because by the time people get to a certain age, a certain amount of personal development, spiritual growth, however you want to phrase it, they know that something greater is at hand.
Right.
You can call it source, you can call it God, you can call it universe, you can call it goddess. I was, oh my gosh, years ago, I was kind of sort of reprimanded because when I had my group, Deliberate Manifesting.
Oh, yes.
I was told off because I didn't use the word goddess. So that I was like,
I
well,
feel like I might have known who that person was.
that's an assumption. If I say God, that means goddess. If I say source, it means the universe. It's so inclusive. And every time you say these things, you don't want to have to go through this list
But you
of,
know what? It all comes back to people's religious trauma. How were they
oh my God,
in their childhood traumatized by religion? Because God leaves a horrible taste in my mouth. I'm at the point now where I understand when you say that, that's universe. That's for me. That's my higher power. Whatever it is that I have to give my breath back to when I hold it for as long as I'm able to, whatever that makes that happen, whatever pumps this, whatever makes what that I don't control or even think about happening,
right.
that is who is in control of my life. Because if I can trust to keep my breath coming in and out of my lungs, what can't I trust that with? And I don't
Right.
have to have a name. I just have to vibe with that. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Positively. Yeah.
Which is really, when you think about it, energy. It's the
So I'm
energy.
here to say that
Yes.
if you want to connect with your spirit team consists of guides, ancestors, passed over loved ones, your higher being, your guardian angel, messenger angels. Now, I want to. There's a codicil to that. Um, your passed over loved ones are part of your spirit team, but just because they passed over doesn't mean you have immediate access to them. Doesn't mean that I
Right.
have immediate access to
Right.
your passed over loved ones. You
Right.
still love them, they still love you, but they have work to do and they're not always going to be available. Some people get
And
really
honestly,
offended.
you have work to do too before you're probably really going to be okay when that happens.
Right,
Because
right,
let's be
right.
honest, if right after they were gone, something showed up that was so obviously them, I might have a heart attack at that point. But
No,
if
I
I
doubt
have
that.
done,
I
if
doubt
I've
that.
done these works, but you know what? If I've done this
Sure,
to
sure,
get to a
absolutely.
place where that connection is going to be not anything other than the comfort that it is going to be.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So,
And sometimes they do come across, pretty quick and easy. But
right. But if they don't, it's because there's preparation for you also. You both are
yeah.
preparing for that
Oh,
reunion.
absolutely, positively. I've done this for decades, and I lost my parents when I was 14. They died in a car accident. And ever since I was able to connect with spirit, I have asked, I want to see my parents. I want to see my parents, and I'm trying not to cry.
You may.
So
I've cried many times
that
on here.
that has not happened.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I don't know how accepting I would be of seeing an image in my physical life. Okay.
Right. That might give
That
you a heart attack.
right. Well, I remember before we moved out here, it had to have been 98. Mother's Day of 98. I spent with my mother. It was a crystal clear connection, and I heard every word that she had to say. And it was vital that I heard those words. By the time it was 98, I was 38 years old. And when they died, my aunt and uncle on my father's side, his sister and brother-in-law, became my guardians. They
Okay.
didn't want, they didn't want me. They didn't want anything to do with me. I was sent away to boarding school, and that ended up being the perfect thing for me because their thumb, you
Could
know.
you repeat that? Just you muffled the got muffled. Could you repeat that you didn't have to
I didn't have
live
to
under
live
their thumb?
under their thumb. I had
Okay.
to obey their rules. I was there in their house for holidays, summer breaks, winter breaks, shit like that.
Right. So you had to be respectful of the rank.
Yes, yes. But
Right.
they were very, very harsh, very hard on me, and thank goodness I was sent to boarding school. Oh my God, thank
Right.
God.
Right.
So anyway, that day, that Mother's Day, 1998. I spent with my mother, and I was able to hear her say that they had no idea that it was going to be so awful, so bad, because of course when you agree to be a child's guardian, you never assume it's going to come to pass, right? You
Oh,
just
right.
everyone's going to live forever. This isn't going to happen. We're not going to have to deal with this little bitch, yada yada. But they did have to deal with this little bitch, and
Right.
I was much more polite with them than I had been with my parents. I was in shock. So anyway,
Oh,
my mother told me that day that they had no idea, that if they had had an idea that it was going to be like that, they never would have named that particular aunt and uncle my guardians. And that gave me a great amount of comfort. It truly, truly did. Fast forward to 2019. How many years later? I'm not going to count.
right.
I'm not.
Okay.
And
Right.
I spent most of 2019 with my parents. They were coming through loud and clear, both of them. I had some forgiveness work to do with my dad because,
Was that the one you gave me? That exercise, the forgiveness exercise? Did you do that? Is that where you found that?
probably.
Yeah.
I actually created that forgiveness in writing 2 years later. But I had to forgive my dad because, now keep in mind, I was a child when this accident happened. Keep in mind, they were hit by another car. I had been holding resentment that he hadn't gotten out of the way. Now, come on,
Well,
now that I'm
except from the viewpoint.
and I've been driving for, over 40 years, I know how fast accidents happen and how you can't always get out of the way.
Well, right.
So,
And the viewpoint of that age at that point was all you knew. And you as a young person wanted there to be a reason that you could blame somebody for that happening. Because you couldn't deal with it without blaming someone.
By the same token, you know how there's legalities to everything. When
Right.
I found out that the estate of my parents was suing the other driver's estate, I had such a hard time comprehending that because there was 4 people in that car, only one survived. What? I could, legalities being what they are, I don't need to understand that at this point, but I could have, what, no.
Right. Oh,
No,
I totally understand how you felt. Yes,
just,
absolutely.
it was just as traumatic for that family.
Right.
The person who was driving was 48 years old, and he was coming from his father's wedding reception. His father had waited how many years to remarry? I don't know if he was divorced, widowed, or whatever, but on the day of his wedding, he lost his son, his daughter-in-law, his grandson. Oh my gosh. And we sued them? I still don't understand that. But in any case, things being what they are, you have to.
Well, and in the legal world, they hit them. So textbook is, yes, you sue people that hit you. So
Right.
in that whole world view of it, they did exactly what people do. However, very rarely do you think about that other side when you also lose that those people.
Sure.
So because you are so overwhelmed with that grief of what you've lost, that those people almost don't exist at all anymore for a while.
There is still a part of me, and granted, they're probably gone by now, but I remember feeling and thinking back then that I would like to meet them,
Right.
and say, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Right.
Yeah, sure, my loss,
Right.
but their loss. So
Right.
in any case,
Right.
when a person wants to contact their spirit team, I am living proof that you don't have to come from a gypsy background. I am living proof that you can grow up in white ass America and go ahead and become this.
And be raised in church. And be
Yes.
raised in church. Yes.
Yeah, we were totally raised in church, So,
Yes.
it's a matter of determination and finding the path, finding the mentor that works for you. I have guided people to their spirit team. I have guided people to their
I would be one of those.
to their audience, to their clairvoyance, to their claircognizance. I can
And
do
if you
that.
have any doubt, I just want to step in here really fast. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do another episode with you because I want this to be short enough that people have the time to really hear what you're saying. What I want to do right now is I want to tell you how I know that Paula is legit, and though her spirit team and her delivering what they say. I had a session with her, and my son and I, as you know, Jordan, who was on one of the earlier episodes, we had broken contact. And it was, I believe, in 2023, probably, that we did that session, possibly. And that was I had 5 things, and one of them was what was going to happen with Jordan. And you told me there will be reconciliation in 2025. And in 2023, I'm like, wow, okay. So in March of 2025, he called me out of the blue. First, he messaged me on Facebook, and I didn't see it, and then he called me. And the bond and the relationship that has grown in that pause that we took, because we were connecting in unhealthy, addictive ways. The reason these things keep cropping up is the universe wants to make sure that if you get into a bigger platform, bigger arena, that your addictions aren't going to trip you up, that your emotional outbursts aren't going to trip you up. So I talked about this last week. So the universe gives us tests, but it's more, let's see. I'm going to present a situation that you always lose your shit in. Right. Because until you don't lose your shit in this situation and just lay back in the ocean of the universe and know that this too shall pass. And then you can talk about it in a calm, kind way instead of losing it and spiraling. So, but what I wanted to say today, and I wanted your opinion on this, I talk to people out in the world all the time, and that's one of the reasons that is the reason I started the podcast, because I had friends that were like, you need to be telling people this stuff, and then I talk, but the resounding thing is I will see someone, and their radiance is just so obvious to me. It's just, their light is just there. And I will say to them, oh my gosh, you are just radiant, or you're adorable, or I will, say, but it will always lead back to that light of yours. And 8 out of 10 times they will say to me, I don't feel like my light shines at all. And this is what I've realized about our own light. You have to get to a place in your healing and spiritual growth and all of that before you can access what your own light looks like. Because we can only see us in a reflection or a picture, which is not going to capture your light sitting there. It's not going to capture that. And so it doesn't matter, though, if we don't know that our light is there, because other people will always see that, whether it is a tiny little ember or it is lighting up the whole universe. If I am sitting there as that tiny little ember looking out into the dark, I am lit up right here, and this is dark. If there is someone out in the darkness and I'm sitting there with my ember, that ember is going to stay lit for them to find that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when people are like, oh, I just don't think my light shines at all. Well, maybe right today your light isn't for you. Maybe I needed to see it to give me the reassurance that this really is.
That.
When people say to me, your light, your presence, your energy shifts the room anywhere you walk into. And I'm like, whatever, I don't see that. I've been paying attention. That is exactly what happens. And that, as my little self, perceiving, being raised in a Christian home, perceived that thing as too much, too bright.
Sure.
And so I just pulled back. That was one of, because you have your shadow things that are things you think are horrible. But you have these golden shadow things. Do you know about golden shadows?
Yeah.
That all of the good things, the amazing, creative everything, they potentially would have made someone in your life feel bad about themselves that you just put away. Well, I'm not putting those motherfuckers away anymore. They are radiant. And I got to be honest, I'm learning how to pull that back, because I have normally just walked into the room and I'm on full blast. And, you know, the people that understand those people are pretty much okay with me. But there are people that I see are just like, I don't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to give that presentation of, oh my gosh, I just go in dressed. Like I always say when I show everybody, I dressed myself today. So I have on this amazing dress, and then I just layer. And so I just dressed myself. So I'll just walk in now and just float through the store. Now I'm going to fall for you all. This will be fun.
No, please
like I did, like I fell. Well, I didn't fall necessarily. I laid my new bike down that I got. I got a new motorcycle.
Did you really?
So I did. Yes. It's amazing.
Okay, well, but you got it. So
I laid it down and I spun it out. And Jack said to me, there are people that have been trying for years to accomplish the spin out. You did the first time you ever got on your bike. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, if I was a high five person, I'd be giving you a high five, and he walked over and high fived me.
My God.
He thought I was going to tell him when I landed on the ground and the bike was sitting there. He thought I was going to tell him, well, I'm done, because that was Missy. Ajna was laughing. I'm like, I've been concerned and dreading when my first lay down on this. Never going to happen again. I just did it. Don't have to worry about that. First time ever again. And I'm determined.
Okay.
I'm determined because it is going to be fun. And I'm conquering my fears. My ultimate fear is to jump off the stratosphere. But I just read an article today that this girl, a 21-year-old in Brazil, they pushed her off and
they didn't hook up the bungee cords. Yeah.
And she died. So,
yeah.
You know, I always have those fears, but I feel like learning how to ride this motorcycle is my jumping off the stratosphere right now.
Okay, I can live with that. Thank you.
Nothing about it. It is completely, I am having to get my brain to quit going into the default of, what are you doing? What are you doing? And saying, you know what? Let's just think about something different so that I can create that file. So when I go to do my bike, you're not freaking me out.
There's so much coordination that goes into all that. Oh my God. Oh my God.
See,
left hand, right hand.
I mean, I will give it my absolute all attempt. And if I am not able to figure it out, I'll plant flowers on it because I'm not getting rid of that bike. It's too pretty. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Paula, I would in the next few weeks I'm going to be with Ravina next week in Idaho Falls, and then the next few sessions are going to be on the 6 tests the universe gives you, like I was talking, to prepare you. And I just did a summary of each, and then I'm going to break each one down into a 20-minute or so episode to concentrate
prepare
on.
A person for what?
For the next bigger platform, the next step in the transformation. Like, you know, like the first one is identity test. Something from that persona life that you wanted so badly shows back up exactly how you wanted it, but it doesn't sit right. You would be going back. And so the universe needs to see, are you a new person or have you just put on a new mask?
Okay.
And so there's these 6 different identity, independence, abundance, what was it? It went like when you first get into it, it's exciting and fun, and then it just sets into this is my life now. So it can sometimes feel almost boring, and you've got to realize that it is the consistency. It is that consistency that got you to that place that needs to continue. You can't stop it because you've arrived, because you never arrive. But anyway, Paula, thank you so much. I love you dearly. Thank you for giving me
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the peace and calmness about my son when you did, because it did make those couple of years go much easier, because and then it was like confirmation that, yeah, this is somebody we need on the podcast, because you are somebody I trust. So
Thank you.
anyway, thank you all so much for being here on the Flowers in the Wild. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.